Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What unethical experiment do you think would be interesting if conducted? Clone a known serial killer. Make, let's say, 24 or so. Intentionally raise them in a variety of environments, including the one they were raised in. Track how many, if any, become killers. Testing the nature versus nurture argument. Oh, that's a good one. Raising a child in a completely 1960s themed atmosphere and then abruptly exposing them to the modern world when they are between the ages of 15 and 18. This is basically the plot of Blast from the Past. Although Brendan Fraser's character doesn't get exposed to the modern world until he is in his 30s. Except the 90s and today are a million years apart. Re the child, teen experience. All this stuff about forbidding doping and steroids. What if we take one professional sport and just say go nuts? Take it all. Backed by actual doctors and scientists. Paid by big money. Let's see how many absurd ways we can push the human body. What can it really do? When pushed to the extreme. Cycling or MMA would be preferred. I would love to see this. Olympic sports have 3 levels. Normal with the non-doped athletes. Roided with the doped AF athletes. And Jeff from Ohio. I want to see a Jeff from Ohio person in every Olympic event. Regardless of the actual Olympians doping or not. Give us some perspective. Make the Jeffs people who are moderately in shape and roughly the same age as the competitors. So they're not there just for comedic value. But we'd be able to see how much better the Olympians are. Obviously we all know they're way better, but without a visual, it's hard to put into context. Breed giant-sized or mini-humans intentionally over generations to see how big or small humans can become. Edit. Guys, it says unethical. Therefore living to a ripe old age in great health wouldn't exactly be necessary for the experiment. Yao Ming was actually bred by China lol. They did matchmaking in state sports camps, looking back generations to breed for height. His parents didn't really know each other personally, but were convinced to make it work for the glory of China as they were true believers. It reads like a dystopian sci-fi novel. Crazy stuff. It worked though. Take away a billionaire's money and see if they can raise themselves up by their own bootstraps. They'd have to assume entirely new identities. I imagine their names alone would allow them more leeway than an average person to fall back into. Wealth, names, connections, estate. You'd have to literally take everything from them. This sounds very ethical, honestly. Not just ethical, it sounds like a moral imperative. We should do this to all billionaires. We've cloned a sheep. Time to clone a human. I feel like this was probably done behind closed doors already. There's a scientist in China who claimed to have already done this a few years ago. The guy was punished by the government for it and heavily criticized by the international scientific community. There are a few others too that have claimed to have done it too. That one whole group moved to the Bahamas because of the FDA in the late 90s. https www.newscientist.com, article, DN 3217 first cloned baby born on 26 December. Have you ever seen Zooey Deschanel and Katy Perry's dads in the same room? It's definitely been done. Who are the other women that are eerily similar to them? Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman. Essentially Lord of the Flies. Take 50 10-year-olds who have never met. Lock them in Walmart or someplace fully stacked with everything they need to survive. Give them no access to the outside world and no way to escape. See what happens. Edit. For the countless people saying, boys and girls alone, this was not anywhere close to anything real. It only lasted 5 days. There were cameramen and support staff who interacted regularly with the kids. And the kids were given direction and tasks to complete. It was probably about as close as people can ethically get to this experiment. But it was not in any way comparable to the real situation. How about 10 50-year-olds as a side experiment? I volunteer. That's basically the plot of Dawn of the Dead. Only they were stuck in a JCPenney. https en.wikipedia.org/wiki/dawn_of_the_dead_ 1978 film. This basically did happen in real life. https www.theguardian.com/books/2020/may/09/the-real-life-what-happened-when-6-boys-were-shipwrecked for 15 months. TLDR, the boys cooperated and helped each other. They did not turn into murderous animals. To me, this really undercuts the moral heart of the book, with some pretty profound implications for society. I think 6 is a bit too low to turn into Lord of the Flies. There should be some threshold where factions start developing and the group cohesion break down. Kinda like how larger social circles tend to have more drama. Gather a group of varied children from different races and places from around the world. Raise and educate them with absolutely no sense of history, nationality, or religion. Purely secular education. Then study to see what prejudices they manage to come up with on their own. I think the mistake here is thinking we come up with prejudice when very insulated communities in parts of the Americas, Africa and Asia have independently developed prejudices based on very mundane things like ear lobes, to obvious ones like racial phenotype and height. It's surely unavoidable that we are simply tribalistic. The idea that we poison ourselves to be hateful is, in my view, the exact opposite of the truth. Maybe someone should run an experiment to test that. It'd probably be unethical though.